Hello everyone, welcome to yet another day in the clown decade, the decade where things are only going to get worse before they get better. And today's story is all about how our Labour Party, our party of government, has such airheads that they have possibly ruined the next 4 years of US-UK relations if Donald Trump gets in. Which is quite a surprising thing, given that Trump is actually quite an Anglophile and is the closest thing to making the lie about the special relationship between the US and UK actually be a reality. So, how the hell have they managed this? My Twitter mutual, Max Tempers, broke this story as he was wading through the LinkedIn pages of political actors for Labour. So Sophia Patel, head of operations at the Labour Party, decided to post this on LinkedIn. I have nearly 100 Labour Party staff, current and former, going to the US in the next few weeks, heading to North Carolina, Nevada, Pennsylvania and Virginia, but all swing states. I have 10 spots available for anyone available to head to the battleground state of North Carolina. We will sort your housing, etc. Email me on labourforkamala@gmail.com if you're interested, thanks. And another Twitter mutual, Tony Dawson, has posted pictures of these Labour staffers going over to America and campaigning for Kamala to be president. Again, openly saying that they are two Labour staffers, putting the evidence that they have volunteered to go over to the US to campaign for Kamala. Now, naturally, this did not make the Trump campaign particularly happy, so they released this statement. The British are coming. Trump-Vance campaign fights Kamala's foreign election interference scheme. When representatives of the British government previously sought to go door-to-door in America, it did not end well for them. The Trump-Vance campaign has filed a Federal Election Commission complaint against the Harris-Walz campaign and the Labour Party of the United Kingdom for illegal foreign campaign contributions and interference in our election. Which, whether it's illegal or not, we'll have to look into the law for. I don't want to say one way or the other whether it's illegal. However, there's no doubt that there is foreign interference by the official Labour Party. As the original LinkedIn post said, the Labour Party are sorting people's flights and accommodation over in America. That means that direct funds from the Labour Party have gone to support the Harris-Walz campaign. Now, whether that's illegal or not, we'll have to look into, but whether it's illegal or not is beside the point. Plenty of people have pointed out that plenty of people have gone over with funds from political parties to volunteer to get one or the other president elected. It's perfectly possible that it was illegal and no one complained because it made absolutely no difference whatsoever. The point is here, though, is that Trump is, there's a 50-50 chance he's getting in the White House. And he's clearly not happy about this. And so my question, I suppose, would be, was if the race is so tight and sending over 100 people is going to make the difference of like 5 votes, not even necessarily in favour of Harris, why risk the potential relationship you're going to have with Trump just for a few votes in these swing states? It boggles the mind that you would see a race this close and even bother risking trying to improve relations with Kamala and ruin them with Trump when the race is neck and neck. I don't know who's going to win this election. I don't think anyone does. Which, again, just shows that Labour is full of complete incompetence that have no idea how geopolitics works. But if you would like to know more about geopolitics, please go to the Worcester Club and please look at our history of antiquity, because geopolitics is very important, as it turns out, and you can learn a lot from history. But anyway, let's finish off this statement. The Trump-Vance campaign co-manager Susie Wiles stated, "In 2 weeks, Americans will once again reject the oppression of big government as we rejected in 1776. The flailing Harris-Walz campaign is seeking foreign influence to boost its radical message, because they know they can't win the American people. President Trump will return strength to the White House and put America and our people first. The Harris campaign's acceptance and use of this illegal foreign assistance is just another feeble attempt in a long line of anti-American election interference. The far-left Labour Party, amazing, has inspired Kamala's dangerously liberal policies and rhetoric. In recent weeks, they have recruited and sent party members to campaign for Kamala in critical battleground states, attempting to influence our election." I do not think it can be overstated how absolutely dumbfounded I am that the Labour Party actually did this. I don't think Keir Starmer said to his staffers, go over and help in America. I think the staffers did this via their own volition. I think taking funds from the Labour Party to do this probably breaks Labour Party rules. And I can genuinely see heads rolling for this, because whether they like it or not, Labour do effectively have to appease the states that they are a vassal to. Again, just to make it clear, what Labour have done is not even helps the Harris campaign at all, and I mean at all. I think this has actually helped Trump in an awful lot of ways. And in doing this short-sighted election interference, not only have they helped Trump, but they've annoyed him, irritated him to the point of he's going to hold a grudge over this. He is going to have a lot of things to say about the Labour Party and probably Keir Starmer. And that is not exactly a strong start to having a relationship with the possible next president. Again, we find out who wins this election race in a couple of weeks. And what, you think sending 100 people over is going to swing these states to vote Kamala? Okay, maybe you got 5 people to vote Kamala with these people going over. What are you going to do about the thousands, possibly hundreds of thousands, that see this story and think, oh, well, that's much more obvious than the Russian interference I keep being told about. I'm voting Trump. This is so much worse than putting all your money on black. This is effectively saying, I want to put all my money on black, but I also want you to chop one of my feet off. Because even if Kamala Harris and Tim Walz win, do you really think that they're going to see you send 100 people over and say, we really want a better relationship now? Or do you think they're not going to care? This was such a short-sighted mistake. I am not shocked at all that the Labour Party did it. They are that incompetent and stupid. And it doesn't help that when Trump and Vance say we are going to make an official complaint and get both the Labour Party and Harris Walz taken to court, Elon Musk, the man who is currently the owner of the #1 news platform in the UK, says that this is a good thing. Again, they annoyed Elon Musk a couple of weeks ago because they had an investment summit and didn't invite the single richest person on the planet there. A man who actually, again, is an Anglophile. It shows how much Labour hates the country when they don't want to invite anyone over who actually likes the country of Great Britain. It's the old Orwell quote of leftist academics and intellectuals just hate Britain, and that is all the Labour Party is at this point. Another quote by George Orwell, he's a great man, is that there are some ideas so absurd only an intellectual could believe them. And believing that going over to help the Walz-Harris campaign with official Labour funds is one of those monumentally stupid things. This is basically a video of me once again calling the Labour Party beyond moronic. The thing is that this made headline news in the UK. This is the #1 story at the moment. I'm seeing it all over the place. Donald Trump accuses Labour of meddling in US election. A complaint was filed with the Federal Electoral Commission against British volunteers campaigning for Kamala Harris in battleground states. Again, this was the front page of the Times. Or at least the Times Online, I should say. The Guardian's front page. Labour downplays row with Donald Trump over claims of US election interference. With 2 subheadings here as well that go to different articles. Starmer insists he can have a good relationship with Trump. And then obviously the headline about Trump filing the complaint. This was put above Israel launching airstrikes on Lebanese city of Tyre, by the way. I do mean this. This is the #1 story in the UK at the moment. Another headline of look how monumentally stupid Labour are. And then there's the BBC headlines. Trump team accuses Labour of election interference as Starmer tries to play down row. Labour volunteers helping Harris in spare time, says Starmer. I mean, we'll get into the details of it now. You get the point. Headlines everywhere. So Donald Trump's campaign filed an official complaint with the Federal Election Commission. We already read the statement. Sir Keir Starmer, however, insisted that volunteers were using their spare time and denied it would harm relations with Trump. Yeah, Starmer, the problem is that, yes, they were using their spare time, that is true. However, they were also getting flights over from the benefit of the Labour Party, along with their hotels. So Labour Party funds officially went to this. So you can say they went over as individuals and it was in their spare time, but ultimately, if they're effectively going there free of charge thanks to the Labour Party, that is the Labour Party involved with foreign elections. The PM, speaking to journalists en route to the Commonwealth Heads of Government meeting in Samoa, where he's going to also have to tell people he's not going to pay slavery reparations, said, the Labour Party is volunteers who have gone over pretty much every election. I don't think that makes it any better, by the way, because if this turns out to be illegal, you have effectively implicated that the Labour Party have been doing illegal things for years, so you better hope that you win this court case, assuming it goes to court. I'm not being funny when I say this, that is probably the stupidest thing to start this statement with, oh, we do this all the time. They did it with the freebies thing as well. They're just like, oh, we do this all the time, what's your problem? Like, that's worse, Starmer. They're doing it in their spare time. They're doing it as volunteers. They're staying, I think, with other volunteers over there. Again, at the Labour Party's expense. That's what they've done in previous elections. That's what they're doing in this election. That's really straightforward. And as far as I'm aware with US law, foreigners can go over as individuals on their own dime and in their own spare time to campaign for whoever they want. However, if it is done at the behest of beneficiaries who are official parties, that's where it starts to get in a bit of murky water. So the row was triggered when Sophia Patel, head of operations for Labour, posted on LinkedIn and said the party had hundreds of spots available to help knock on doors for the Harris election campaign. We already saw that, thank you Max Tempers. Only US citizens and green card holders are allowed to make financial contributions to a US election, but anyone else can volunteer for campaigns as long as they remain unpaid. Which I suppose is a thing. They are technically unpaid because the Labour Party are only covering expenses, but even then, should the Labour Party be covering expenses for things like this? I would argue probably not. But ultimately it's up to US law and the US courts to decide. The volunteers are not official British government envoys and must pay their own way. Yes, but they are Labour Party staffers, so they are official within the Labour Party who happen to be the British government at this time. Trump supporters have expressed outrage at the Labour contingent arrival, with Elon Musk falsely claiming it was illegal, and we don't know yet, and Nigel Farage calling it direct election interference, which is much more accurate. There is precedent for foreign nationals assisting with election campaigns. In May 2015, a group of Young Republicans International Committee volunteered for David Cameron's Conservatives in the constituents of Enfield, North and Aylesbury. Yes, but we have different laws to the US. And to be honest, whether it's illegal or not is completely beside the point. This could be entirely legal. The problem comes in where Labour have, again, sent, 100 people over? And for some reason they didn't think that this would, one, annoy Trump, who is 50-50 to be the next president, and two, thought it would influence anything anyway. This point needs to be laboured, but I don't know why Labour think if this story ever got out, it wouldn't put them in any good light whatsoever. Because at a time where everyone goes on about foreign interference, do you think it's a good idea to say on LinkedIn for pretty much the entire public to see the Labour Party is funding people to go over to America and volunteer for Harris? Do you really think that's ever going to be a good look anyway? Oh, we've done it loads of times in the past. That makes it look even worse, Starmer. But on the other hand, left-leaning activists celebrated the project. The transatlantic dialogue between the Democrats and Labour is flourishing with a new generation of politicians, strategists and campaigners. I am begging you, America, please vote Donald Trump, said Claire Ainsley, the former policy chief to Starmer, who now works at the Progressive Policy Institute. Definitely vote Trump. Josh Freed, the senior vice president at the Washington-based think tank Third Way, told Politico there's a recognition that the public in both countries want to see both policies and government actually deliver what they need in their lives. Well, my American audience, just to let you know what that has meant for the UK here, is literally everyone thinking things have just got worse. And as far as I can tell, Kamala's vote is largely a "my God, I do not want Trump" vote. So on the basis that Harris is seen positively by barely anyone over in the US, and let's face it, the reason the Labour Party have gone over is because they do not want to have to deal with Trump, that probably means it's a good idea that you should probably vote for Trump. Now, if that means relations worsen between the UK and US, I will take that temporary hit, because overall, Labour are going nowhere long term. It's a temporary hit, pretty much guaranteed, because you could end up with a Tory and Reform coalition, and if you have Nigel Farage as the Deputy Prime Minister, then Donald Trump's going to be quite happy about that. So, thinking long term, it's just obvious that Donald Trump should be the choice when it comes to any sort of geopolitics. I mean, the man started no new wars. take that how you will. Anyway, as I say, it will be interesting to see how and when this goes to court. It'll be interesting to see how Starmer tries to keep downplaying this. And it will be interesting to see if Starmer is still Prime Minister when Donald Trump is elected, how that relationship is going to go. Because this has practically ruined it. For like 5 extra votes and 100 extra for Trump. So, well done Labour, once again you are showing your rank amateurness. But that was everything I had for you for this video today. So shill time, I should be finishing off Dustborn tonight, though if it gets pushed back I will let you know. Laughing at the Guardian returns on Saturday, so come along to that. Next Monday we have another episode of the Antiquity series. We are still covering the Peloponnesian Wars. Tuesday it's Tosh Newscast, so expect us to talk even more about how Labour suck. And of course videos out as and when I can make them. So with that, please do subscribe, become a member, send super thanks and super chats. They really do help the channel out. Leave a like, leave a comment, all that good stuff. And finally, once again, thank you very much for watching, and until next time, goodbye.